The Justice and Constitutional Development Department has been allocated 25 billion rand to its budget, according to the department. This will provide support to courts as well as state legal services, the National Prosecuting Authority, and the auxiliary and associated services. The budget vote was delivered by the new minister in the portfolio, Thembi Simelane, this month in Cape Town. In her speech, the minister said that the department will strive to improve ease of access to justice for victims of domestic violence. Let's now bring the minister into this discussion via our video link. Minister, very good morning to you once again. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. This is where I want to start off, Minister. I remember one of the biggest issues for you, even before you got into this department, was relating to the investigations and prosecutions around apartheid-era crimes, and this, of course, around the personal experience that you have with the disappearance of your sister. When the president made that call and said that this is the job that we are giving you, did you reflect on that at all?
Well, Andrew, good morning, and good morning to our viewers. Yes, I did. I think it's a natural phenomenon. I did. I guess when you are any other minister, let's say Minister of Health, you'll do a reflection on what type of a service have you last received in a health facility and what would you want the experience to change. And obviously my relationship in the main with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development can be justice being denied in the case of my sisters and delayed. Well, we have been caught yesterday and the day before. Nothing much happened, but in the main, for me, if it can be of assistance, particularly to TRC cases, will be for me not to personalize my Noctula case, but rather to get a system that works for everybody else, even an alternative dispute mechanism, which could also be one of the issues of how you can resolve such form of cases to ensure that ultimately families do arrive at justice. I think it's teaching me even more, rather to be a servant than to be self-saving. Rather, I focus on ensuring that you get proper access to justice as a citizen from my learnings than me getting justice on my behalf and forgetting everybody else behind.
Yeah. And as you take on this department, you also are faced with a report, the report that was compiled by Advocate Dumisa Ntsebeza, and this is, of course, in relation to the prosecution or lack of prosecution of apartheid crimes and also the allegations of political interference. One of the recommendations that he makes is that there should be a commission of inquiry to look into political interference. In your budget speech, you did say that some of the findings are still under serious consideration. Who must decide whether there is a commission of inquiry?
On the recommendation of the Minister of the Department of Justice, the President must therefore decide on the commission of inquiry. And that's what our workings are looking towards as a department to fulfill, because remember, it's ourselves through the NPA, Shamila Batohi, who appointed Advocate Ntsebeza to look into these intricate matters. The TRC unit is overseen, yes, both by DPCI and NPA to try and deal with those issues of TRC and apartheid crimes. And we're looking at it very closely to ensure that we conclude on them. There's quite a huge of a backlog in the Department of Justice. I mean, just yesterday I dealt with about 11 reports, which refers to the SIU investigations, which was also a backlog. Provinces had long approved that they be dealt with through investigation on the SIU. You look into the master court, there's a backlog. You look into every general role of court for various reasons, the backlog. I do believe that for us to make a dent in access to justice, in giving you what your constitution as a citizen has guaranteed you, access to justice, there's quite a bit that we need to do in terms of dealing with these backlogs.
Yeah. Will you be recommending to the President that that commission of inquiry be set up? And I'm also asking this on the basis of what Vusi Pikoli had said at the Supreme Court of Appeal, and that is that the former President, Thabo Mbeki, interfered in the prosecution of apartheid-related crimes, which, of course, the former president is denying?
Definitely, we will be following that through. It is a formal report. It is a formal prosecutorial report that we were given by the NPA to deal with the TRC crimes. It is not only, of course, a recommendation. It even goes further to a certain extent in trying to assist how best could they be investigated, how best alternative justice or alternative response mechanism can be utilized. How best can you investigate cold cases? What type of skills do you need? What type of form of reparations the department still needs to complete? Remember the President Fund, which was meant for TRC victims, and how it is utilized for their children and their children's children. So there's it's a vast report which looks into the matter holistically, and we definitely are looking into all those inquiry related matters that the report has recommended.
Okay, let's look at the strengthening the capacity of the criminal justice system. You speak about the creation of an anti-corruption and cyber forensic academy. What is this? What does it look like? What is the curriculum?
Crime is a global phenomenon now. You will recall that Minister Lamula did officially open a new, not necessarily a rehabilitated college, Bridget Mabandla Justice College, which one arm deals with the prosecutorial training and related issues which you experience on a day-to-day experience as a citizen. On another hand, it talks about how easy can the police and our joint task force teams, where the Hawks, DPCI, SIU, together with the police, if you want a successful prosecution, investigation must be thoroughly done. And one of the global trends and growth, because of the smartphone category, the smart world, crime happens even in the cyberspace, in the main, particularly the one according to our anti-corruption strategy, the maladministration, the abuse of funds, the fraud, money laundering and all that. It's mostly a cyber crimes. So you need forensics, which are trained in cyber. You need forensics, which are trained in related financial investigation to be able to bring to a close such cases very fast and prompt. Yes, we do have those skills, but not at the level in which you want them in terms of the numbers. So you need to recruit young people, particularly who have also qualified, who are lawyers, who understand the law, and then have a skill of financial investigation, chartered accountants as well in cybersecurity. So you need a multi-diverse team that will be able to help us in our anti-corruption strategy.
Yep.
So that's what the academy is about, and it will be housed as well in the college.
The UJ, the University of Johannesburg, actually are introducing what they call virtual reality courtroom game. I don't know if you've seen that, Minister.
Yes.
And what do you make of how you now see that you have academia also coming to the party to say that we need to also help and assist the state when it comes to access to justice?
Yes. In fact, you might have not had an opportunity. If you look into, for example, in the past 5 years, hundreds of our courts were renovated to be aligned to a fuller victim support basket. If you go to the newly built magistrate court in Potchefstroom, it actually aligns to what the University of Johannesburg is doing. Ultimately, Aldrin, you might have seen also quite a lot of our courts sitting virtually. But what becomes the challenge? In most instances, it's not that the backlog is created because prosecutors or magistrates don't come to work. No, it's precisely because the system is weak. Digitization and modernization of our court is one of our key projects. Of course, then there are other small menial issues which Department of Public Works with regard to infrastructure must deal with, and they create a huge backlog. You go to Polokwane Court, for example, they may lose about 2 days because the ablution facilities are not working, there's no pressure, or you go to a court in Uppington, the aircon is not working and it's 40 degrees outside. So it's inhabitable, it's unhygienic, they are unable to work. Then you go to where the department really sometimes, in terms of lack of coordination with SAPS, drops the ball. Aldrin was robbed, and the person comes and say, well, I come from Malawi, I can't speak English very well, I need an interpreter, and the interpreter is not ready, and that causes a delay because according to our constitution, you need to be fairly heard and understand the prosecution, or rather the goings of the court on what you are supposed to be responding to. So there's quite a bit of glitch, and that causes to the delay overall, from infrastructure to availability of resources, availability of witnesses, which we must pay for and assist to come to the hearings in court. Sometimes they don't get the money, sometimes they're unable to come, and all that. Yes.
Okay, Minister, unfortunately we're running out of time. Quickly want to rush through this. You did speak about the 628 million rand allocated to the recommendations in the Financial Task Force as well as the Zondo Commission, but I want to take it a step further. Yesterday, the US Treasury issued a statement on sanctions against 2 South Africans who are alleged to be part of ISIS and raising funds within South Africa for ISIS cells on the continent. What's South Africa's response to this particular statement that has come from the US Treasury? And also, when somebody is being sanctioned by the US Treasury on the basis of being involved in militia groups or even being involved in sponsoring terrorism, what do we then do?
Well, we'll be having tomorrow on Friday a discussion with our team legally, but also with the report from the Treasury. It will possibly be arriving in our country officially. We haven't had the formal notification. Suffice to say, we've been following the case through online and on the news. But ordinarily, what then needs to happen, remember, we are signatories of Interpol as well, which are, amongst other things, it ensures that every citizen who's in each and every country needs to be able to abide by those laws, but also don't have to transgress the laws across, even if you are a resident of South Africa. So obviously it will be an investigation, it's an allegation. Is Aldrin part of the people who are perpetrating ISIS wars? Wow, and that's how your cybercrime may get into a question, and you check if there have been really movement of money related to how were they supporting ISIS, and then you assist that country, as Malawi is assisting us. We're sitting with Bushiri in a hearing in Malawi for his extradition. Swaziland on the other 2 of the AKA, UAE is the same type of a relationship. In this instance, is that they want one of our own to come and respond to whatever allegations, not necessarily in a South African court. So it will depend the type of a treaty that we have with the country with regards to Interpol relations.
Thank you so much for your time. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development there, Thembi Simelane. Really appreciate your time.